guys, it is time for everyone's favorite segment. It is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Yes, we did it. Okay. Tony Khan on Ricochet, and he says, I'd rather not get into wrestlers that still work for someone else. And I told you guys, we covered it earlier in the show. This is so hypocritical. He has done this multiple times. He has, and I'm sure Observer and Figure 4, they're just blowing the fact that he said this and putting it over. And I will too. And I'm actually proud of Tony that when asked about the TNA NXT relationship, that he shrugged it off and talked about his own. I'm actually proud of him, and I'm proud of him for not talking about Ricochet. But don't sit here like, I don't know, man. It seems Tony, hopefully he's turning a new leaf. Okay. But he's never had a problem with it before. And so for him to act like it could be some sort of thing now is okay, Tony. We know it makes me feel like you are talking. I don't trust you anymore. But either way, it's just we're gonna bring it up here because Observer brought it up. And I do have a clip for you guys. Don't worry, this isn't a teeny tiny one. We're gonna play some Al Snow, okay, going off on Meltzer. But first, AOT Adebayo at Frequency AO, shut him out. He says, what was that again about TNA having no events after August at Dave Meltzer 1? So Wrestling Inc. shout them out as well. It's like the inception of IWC dirt sheet action. This was super funny. We slightly touched on this on PWT Pod before, but we're going to dive in here. So Dave Meltzer speaks openly about TNA's situation on Wrestling Observer Radio, stating that people within the company now have to sit and wait for the company's next move now that they essentially have no marketing or live events team. It was funny because we were on with Ant Evans on Toonie Talk Wrestling, and he's like, I'm friends with Dave, and I had to bite my tongue. He's like, I don't know why you wouldn't do this or ever. And I wanted to be like, yeah, or like hire an editor. I just wanted to roast him, but I was, listen, I'm not going to just like offend the guy, or like offend his friend and I don't like hate Dave either. I'm sure I'd have a beer with the guy. We'd have a laugh, but I would welcome Dave on the show any day. You'd never do it, but I would, man. It would be hilarious. And I would play the flute. Believe me, I'd play the flute before he came on. But anyways, Dave's just saying like TNA has no marketing team. They have no live events. They have no live events team. They have nothing booked after this first weekend of August. Yeah, Dave, they just didn't announce it yet. They have a taping booked in Tampa. There's nothing after that. What that means, I don't know. In theory, WWE sending them talent for the next pay-per-view in exchange for Gordon Grace working. And then he goes on to say, if you read the full thing, he goes like, in theory, it should have popped a thing and they should have had more houses and it should have blah, blah. Meanwhile, he doesn't say that when Mercedes comes over. He doesn't say that when, in theory, they should get bigger ratings, but they don't. He doesn't do all that cope. But either way, TNA announces it. Here you go. Get ready for a summer of nonstop. So Dave just talking like, buddy, they just didn't announce it yet, right? So kicking off June 14 at Cicero Stadium in Chicago at TNA Against All Odds and TNA Impact. And I had misspoke. Someone corrected me, right? Like, so Roxanne Perez, I said, was Knockouts champion. She was not. She was the Ring of Honor champion. But she did wrestle for the Knockouts title. I believe, if I'm not, now correct me on that, it was like a double title match in TNA Impact. And also,
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then also Jordan Grace doesn't have an open challenge. I kept saying Slammiversary. My bad. It's at Against All Odds. So I was right about this. I was just missaying this. I was saying the wrong shit, but the right. So I was Inception, Time Cop. I was Dave Meltzer and you guys there with my misinformation. Good thing I'm not the Hat News. Yeah, dude. So they just announced it. They have dates June. They announced their whole summer tour. Dave, you dumb asshole. And this is what I try to tell you guys. Dave doesn't know anything about TNA until they start doing business with WWE, and then it's just a fail. Because it's like, when has he ever even talked about them? Even when AEW was working with them, all he was doing was like, oh, this will be great for their business and blah, blah, blah. And they actually, had a great pay-per-view and all this stuff. he wasn't even really like putting them over, like all of a sudden he has details on their contracts or anything. He doesn't even pay attention to it until they're doing this, and then he's just trying to undermine them instantly. You see it. It's patterns. You just recognize the patterns. I know if Marty gets this, he's a goddamn musician. You know, you pick up on the pattern things. That it's a pattern with Dave, man. He's gonna show all over it now. So June 14 to 15, they're in Chicago. June 28, 29, they're in Philly. They're in Montreal, Canada. Then they're in Florida. You know, there'll be some NXT action there. Then they're in Louisville. Shout out the Cornet, Castle Cornet. Then they're in Cleveland, Ohio. So they're all over the place, Dave. And you're being a hater, okay? You're being a goddamn hater. And yeah, I don't know, Marty, what do you think about all that? Dave just caught lying again. You know, I'm putting that in all caps in the title of the video.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he's just speaking out the side of his neck. He's making an assumption because he likes to sound smarter than what he is. This is one of those times, probably most of many, where he doesn't have the inside track on something because he's hedged his bets on one side. And now he wants to say something because he has to put something out. He can't not be silent, so he'll just say stupid. Or he'll say something for Bryan to argue with him because he'd rather have something to say than be right. In most cases, he's not. They're probably not. He just sounds like us on Twitter, like regular people on Twitter. This is what our speculation. Anytime we have speculation on something, he just has a platform of zealots that give him money for him to stand on the fence and half say outside of his biases, and then end up being wrong. Because what happens when NXT does outdraw them? Yeah, he just has half say
and then still be wrong.
I'm going to say bias, and then I'm still going to be wrong in some way, which floors me. And then I'm going to half say, so then I could say, well, they're not going to do that. But you know, if they do that, there is a possibility that this, because, and then blah 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 blah, and then everybody just you just get numb to it. You hear it's like Charlie Brown's teacher. Womp, 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 womp. After a while, that's just what it sounds like.
Dude, yeah, that's what I used to say was just Charlie Brown's teacher. So here's Al Snow. Speaking of teachers who actually teach, Alan Sarvin, Al Snow, Jeff Lane, 22, shout him out, and Vince Russo. You know, I'm not even like a big Vince Russo hater, bro. You know, I do his voice, but like, I get it. Cornette and them beef. It's hilarious. I watch him go back and forth. I have no personal. You know, and like I think Vince Russo is one of the most epic fails as far as like you hear his ideas, and he really needed that Vince McMahon filter or like the filter of the WWE machine, or it just didn't work. But here's
right place, right time.
Right, exactly. Like exactly. And like and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not even, you know, I didn't deal with him personally, so I don't like hate him the way Jim does, but I'll listen to Jim roast his ass, bake him every moment I can. It's hilarious. And I'll listen I'll listen to Vince go back on him, bro. But yeah, here's Al Snow, Russo, and Jeff Lane. And shout out the channel, the Vince Russo's brand. What's the channel called here? Vince Russo is the name of the channel. Don't pull this down, man. We love you guys. So let's go here.
All right. You ready, Jeff?
Yeah. It's like Tony Storm is the champion against Harley Cameron. And my God, it felt like they went forever. She's like, beat her already.
It wasn't that long at all.
How long was it?
Let me see. Let me get my.
If it's more than 2 minutes, it was too long.
What? They're trying to push Harley Cameron. They gave.
She's had one match prior to this. Tony's the champion. They're trying to build Tony to a match on the pay-per-view in a week with somebody else. Have Harley beat somebody else.
And here's the thing: Dave is not listening to him. He's just like he just wants to say what he wants to say.
Mariah met, let's see, Tony Storm. They went 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
I mean, that's a short match for AEW television.
Can I stop for a second?
Yeah, you can stop at any time you want, Al. Go ahead.
Dude, we're e-fapping them e-fapping. Dude. Oh, Time Cop, Inception.
This is great.
Conspiracy.
My favorite movie.
This dude that's talking.
This is Bryan Alvarez.
I hate to do it, but he's absolutely right. If you're building Tony Storm for a match against Serena Deeb at the pay-per-view, and why are you having her go 7 minutes with this other girl?
Al, we're just getting started.
Oh,
we're just getting started, Al, please. But Al, feel free.
I love how even with his own people,
yes,
Dave Meltzer is defending the decisions of AEW.
Al,
it was 7 minutes. That's short for AEW. I can't wait to take all of this in from two people who have never once done anything remotely in the wrestling business in their life.
If they had the only women's match on the show and they went 2 minutes, I promise you there's going to be so much criticism online the next day.
Well, you know what I have to say about online criticism? I would rather book for success than worry about online criticism.
So now, again, Dave is defending clearly something that's not defensible.
Right.
And, an only girls match on the show only went 2 minutes. It doesn't have to go 2 minutes, but it definitely only should have to go around 4 or 5. And it really should be the thing that sells Toni Storm, not both girls. When you try to protect one, you don't get any business done. But what I find funny is this guy is now complaining. What's his name again?
Bryan Alvarez
is complaining about the very thing he's doing. And is going, I would rather book for success than for online criticism.
Yes.
What do you make a living doing?
Oh, man. He just nailed it, dude.
Yeah.
You do it online criticism. This is absurd.
Al, we're just getting started, bro.
Okay, go ahead.
Go, Jeff. Go.
I don't care if people are angry that it was only 2 minutes. I would not have Toni Storm a week before a title defense on pay-per-view going 7 minutes back and forth with Harley Cameron, who's had one match.
Irony.
Who looked good in the one match, and this was a good match. I mean, Harley Cameron, for the number of matches she's had, is really good. They had a very good match. Toni Storm, instead of doing the gimmick,
the way I'm just watching Al Snow, the way he's just staring at it, he's like, what the is this guy talking about?
Oh my God.
showing that, in fact,
yeah, dude. And I'm sitting here going, dude, am I really EFAPing an EFAP video? This is hilarious, bro. Time cop.
Inception.
I can't get over. Yeah, dude, it's way too good.
she is wrestling seriously, which she did in this match.
Yeah, that's what you are now. You want a character who's not doing the gimmick, right?
So let me get this right.
Is that
Let me get this right. Let's establish over months
yes
a gimmick.
Yes.
And then let's not do it when we need to do it right before a pay-per-view.
You got to tell Haley J, like, stop doing it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Go out there and wrestle seriously. Yes. Yeah.
Because
Shout out Haley J.
What's important is that it was a good match, not a match that did good business.
The last time
Who's the heel?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't.
Dave,
No, it doesn't. Tony Khan.
I've seen so many segments with Toni Storm where there is no heat for the interview because nobody cares about the baby face. Because the baby face. Did you watch the segment they did last week?
Did you? Wait. Were you in the building when Toni Storm came out and she got cheered like crazy? This match did not have no heat. This match had plenty of heat.
Yeah.
Harley Cameron was the heel. Toni Storm was a big-time babyface.
Yes, Dave.
There was nothing wrong with that.
She was a heel. Toni was a heel last week.
So whoever
and Serena was out there doing a sad story about how she almost died.
And guess what?
Nobody cared. They booed her.
So they switched the thing around to follow.
Like
moving
it's
the goalpost.
Like it's Rock Hogan. Oh, they switched it on the fly, brother. Like, come on. I've already reacted to this video.
My brain hurts.
I just love seeing Al Snow, the crooked look on his face. Jeff sitting there with a shit-eating grin, and then you got Russo just laughing. And when you got Russo and Cornette agreeing on, you're up. You know what I mean? Like, you're up. And man, all I'm saying is that this dude right here, like, I don't know how Bryan Alvarez puts up with this, but dude,
he just paid.
Exactly, it's the money. Actually, how I always try and explain it, but just
that he's going to give him everything when Dave finally leaves.
Yeah, like he takes over the empire. So I do get it, I guess, but it's just like the mentality and what Dave's trying to say, but he can't because he's like blah, blah. Dave's trying to say that, and this is the indie mentality. If you are the baby face at the show, like if you go out there and the crowd cheers you, oh, you work baby face. Oh, if you go out there and they boo you, you work heel. Not like
he thinks everything's a PWG show and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not like no. We're gonna make you boo, and if I go to a place and they cheer, doesn't matter. I'm still gonna heel because I'm telling a long-term story here that takes place over episodic television. I have to be consistent in my characters and my storytelling, not just like go to whatever the crowd says. You know what I mean? So it's
you might as well be speaking Chinese because to TK, that's what he thinks.
And Alan Sarvin's face says it all.
Or the crowd.
Hold on,
Looks strong.
Al. Do you switch baby faces and heels around every week depending on the crowd reaction? Is that a common practice in booking, Al?
No. Now, hold on. The irony of all of this is in the absolute hypocrisy by Dave Meltzer and this guy,
Bryan Alvarez.
I can't remember his name.
Oh my God.
He never
That's
can remember his
hilarious.
name.
Alvarez sounds like me, and Dave Meltzer sounds like Dave Meltzer doing what Dave Meltzer does, which is no matter what happens, let's justify and excuse, Saint Tony and his booking. And whoever agented the match did not give enough proper direction and literally brought back Toni Storm and this, whatever her name was, and go, hey, we're building Toni to work with Serena for the title here in a week on pay-per-view. This match is going to be about her. Can you help get her over? Once it ain't going to hurt you because you're going to be basically beaten by the champion, and we'll pick back up with you next week. We needed her to beat a significant opponent. We put you over really strong last week. It means more if she beats you than she does some random girl. Do you understand? We're going to pick right back up next with and then explain that and go, okay, Tony, you got 7 minutes. That means
Al, that's all good and well, but you're trying to, again, it's what I do all the time. It's logic to Tony Khan. Like he's going to listen to you and just think you're being a hater. So he's not going to listen to you. He's just going to FDR is going to call you an old podcaster. And then you're just not going to, you know what I mean? So there's no, like Al's just speaking facts. And it's like, yeah, we know.
No,
we don't all, yeah, like we all know this stuff. Like, this is just it shouldn't even have to be said. Like,
out to watch, and you two are going to interact throughout the match.
Al, we're just getting started.
Oh,
So they switched the thing around to follow the crowd. What's wrong with that?
Because they didn't switch it. And she
Yes,
will be
they
a
did.
heel. She will be a heel the next time you see her.
It doesn't matter as long as the crowd reacted like crazy. This is on WWE does this constantly.
No, they don't. They have baby
Yes,
faces.
stop. So Dave is now.
sorry, I had my other audio playing. But yeah, Dave's like WWE does this constantly. It's like, yeah, what? Do they? I can't confirm that. If I really think about it, yeah. And then it's like, B, why does it matter about WWE? Like, it just shows you that he's just an art. Here, Al Snow. I already broke this down a long time ago. I went over this clip, but yeah, we're breaking down.
I missed this one, so give me the commentary.
Yeah, X-Files.
Now preaching that we should book for the night.
Book for the crowd. Book for the people in the building.
Book for the night. Book for the building. It's like, no, dude, that's not how you do it.
Book for the people in the building.
Only be concerned that it's a good match.
Yes.
Not a match that does good business.
No.
Not a match that sells a particular personality or character or gimmick, or that helps to drive a story that you're going to utilize between Toni Storm and Serena Deeb on the pay-per-view. No. You're going to just do it to appeal to that instantaneous, that's that independent mindset I talked about. Right. Dave Meltzer breeds that independent mindset because Dave Meltzer doesn't have a clue. If anyone wants to debate this with me, listen to this man's conversation as he perpetually throughout this entire conversation exposes how little he understands or knows about the genuine, actual, real wrestling business.
All right, go ahead, Jeff.
That is what this this
Bryan Alvarez
guy.
Jeff, we're just getting started.
Yeah,
he doesn't know.
They have baby
name. This Alvarez guy.
And so does AEW, except with Tony.
And it's situational. It depends on who's wrestling who on what show. That's not.
Can you imagine that, Al? You're writing a show for the crowd situationally, depending on who's.
Yeah, Vince talking facts, but it's like you're not even writing a show.
Exactly, it's
like that's not
cosplaying as a booker.
Yeah, like then it's not writing a show. It's just putting two guys out there and saying go wrestle. Like it's not. At that point, it's like no, you're not writing a show. That's the problem. That's why AEW sucks so bad lately.
Antagonist. Just based on, I'm going to do a play. I'm going to do a stage production, and my antagonist that I've written in the play to be the antagonist based on the audience's flavor and their decision that night.
Right.
I'm going to make them the protagonist and change everything I've written.
Yeah. Hey, Al, what's this guy's name?
To tell a completely different story.
What's this guy's name right here on the screen?
This Alvarez.
Okay, you got it. All right.
He finally got it. He finally got the name. Oh, he finally got it.
Oh, we're just getting started. We didn't even get. We didn't even get to the part I want Al to hear. We haven't even gotten there yet.
What's the last show where Drew is a babyface?
Drew McIntyre. That's Drew McIntyre. Okay. What about Bronson Reed and Chad Gable when they wrestled each other? Who was the babyface and who was the heel?
Bronson Reed and Chad Gable.
Yeah.
What match?
They just had a match last week.
Chad was the heel.
Hey, we got to go back. Al, I'm sorry. I love when Meltzer goes into high-pitched modes. I just want to go back a little bit so we can hear that.
What do you mean, Brian?
What do you mean, Brian? Brian?
That's just for my giggles, bro.
What match?
They just had a match last week.
Chad was the heel.
Wait.
And he is a heel.
Did somebody just kick him in the nuts?
Yeah, when he gets overly excited, Al, it's the squeaky voice when he gets overly excited. Go ahead, Jeff.
And then Al, he got so squeaky he knocked his audio out.
Yeah, he knocks his audio out. Watch out, watch.
What match?
They should have match last week.
Chad was the heel. And he is a heel. Dave,
so Bronson Reed's the babyface. Is Bronson Reed the babyface next? Will he be the babyface next week? Is he usually the babyface? No, that's what happens. You have situational things, and that's what you do.
Dave's just talking out of his ass.
It's painful
because it is, man. It's the definition of cope.
Sometimes make matches where there's a different thing. It's not a big deal.
Hold on, Al, write that down in your booking. Al, hold on, write that down in your booking book.
Yeah,
you sometimes make matches where there's a different thing. Write that down, Al, please.
It's just a different thing. That's all you do. It's just a different thing. I will point out, even though this guy is a complete, absolute, excuse my language, idiot. Okay?
I love Al.
And thank you for playing this, because I think more of the wrestling business needs to see him, and how badly this exposes just how ignorant he really is to the wrestling world. I mean, he is. This is the independent world of wrestling's Lord and Savior. This is every wrestler's, oh my God, he's the lost Messiah. He's leading us out of the desert of iniquity and stupidity and
But Al, what about the fact that sometimes there's a different thing?
You can being heel or babyface is situated.
Man, Russo, I don't care. He's good on the radio. Like, I don't care. You guys can hate on him. He is funny with his little bits, dude. He gets this whole he gets how to do this whole thing.
Flutes.
Yeah.
Extra flutes.
Yeah, Russo gets how to. He does know how to. He gets how to do this whole thing. It's really funny. It's good to see.
He is right. It depends.
This is great.
Oh, it's gold, dude. It's watching It's us reacting to a reaction of something I reacted to on the show in the past already.
E-fapping.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna do that. There's a part 2 to this one. We'll do on the next show too. But this is it had to be played because this is too funny.
On the circumstances and the situation. That doesn't intrinsically change the fact that your wrestlers are, if they were a heel last week, they're still a heel this week, regardless of whether the circumstances change. A good example of that, because I tell guys all the time, if you were a heel, okay, and you become a babyface, you don't change who you were. You still are the same guy. You cut your promos the same way.
Yeah.
You just, now the circumstances change. Good example of that is Roddy Piper was the best example. Roddy Piper was was the hottest heel there in the 80s. When Roddy turned babyface, he delivered his promos exactly the same way. He still did the same things. He cheated.
Yeah, it's called being a goddamn character. It's a character arc. It's a character.
simple.
Yeah, it's the fact the second a journalist, and I use that term extremely lightly with Dave, shows that they're biased, they lose all credibility. Exactly. That's why I will never, like I am not. I don't even like being like, oh, I covered this and shit. I don't even like using that type of language because, thanks for likes 103. Yeah, we hit over 100. That's why I stopped bugging all you guys. I stopped bugging you guys a while ago. But yeah, man, this is gold here. This video is almost done. This EFAP here, Inception.
But instead of doing it to gain an advantage, he did it as a receipt for whatever the heel did to him.
Al, can I give you a perfect example? Because I just watched it. This is the perfect example. Over every rock.
Sorry, Russo. I don't want your example, but you're solid. But I want to hear Dave.
You don't want the example, bro?
No, I don't want the example, bro, of the wrestling film, bro.
Can we Can we hear more?
The match was good, and again, Toni Storm, who has done a lot of the gimmick so heavy for so long that has not shown off her wrestling skill, and she's going to do a match with Serena Deeb where whatever it is.
Hey, Al, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Al can't even listen for more than 2 seconds. What do you Phil Marks? No, just kidding.
I'm not.
Oh, Phil, why you pause every 2 seconds? I got you.
Not going to do the gimmick this week because
don't do the thing that's drawing you millions of dollars.
Not this week.
You need to show your wrestling skill. Hey, Hulk Hogan, don't go out there and give them what they paid to see. Show them your wrestling skill. Hey, Steve Austin, don't go out there and wrestle like a beer drinking, ass kicking redneck would wrestle. You go out there and you have a good match. You show.
And that's what we mean with flips and stuff. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Hangman can do a backflip. He doesn't have to do that, though. Like, he should not be doing that every night on TV. It's just that it's so simple. Yeah, like it's the same. It's what Al Snow just said. Oh, the thing that drew millions of dollars. The thing that has, like I say it on the show all the time. Pro wrestling's hundreds of years old, and worked fights are hundreds of years old at this point. And it's just like, dude, you're trying to draw the people in the building and not hurt each other. That's the whole point of goddamn wrestling. Like, yes, I love seeing flips. I love seeing a flippy match. It's not a draw though. Like in and of itself, it's like a sprinkle on top of a delicious sundae. It's not the ice cream. But it is a component that elevates the ice cream. The sundae is when you can do flips, right? It elevates the match, but the things that matter are the storytelling, the pacing, the facials, the selling.
That people remember when WWE shows all the highlights. They don't the moments. You remember where you were, how you felt, what you were doing.
Why is it a moment? Well, because they did that, made it mean something when they did it. So I love that Ospreay can do a 630 whatever, but so can the Tante Martin, who was in a tag match earlier in the night. And then so, you know what I mean? Like I love, like it's great that people can do, like it's awesome that every single match in AEW goes on for 12 minutes longer than it should. And they all do athletic moves. That's great, man.
Yeah.
But it's like you pigeonhole yourself. You just automatically put yourself in this, like, well, where's the good story matches though? You can get away with that once in a while if you have good stories surrounding like when Braun Breaker fought Ricochet and they're doing, Frankensteiners off the top, and it's all good, but just give us a little meat on that bone, daddy.
The angle that they used to get him off of TV, that the amount of storytelling and the depth, like when you saw Samantha crying, like.
And imagine if he's off TV and that's what they gave him. They gave him this huge story. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if he really is not coming back and he's going to go away for a while. Look at how much story they just put into Ricochet. Why?
So when he comes back in 3 years, the return.
Well, the return, but also it's because they just spent how long with that in storylines on TV. Imagine there's a TV show and you just kill Imagine The Simpsons and Milhouse is just dead and no one talks about it. No, you've had all these stories with him in it. You kill him off. You give it a story, big or large. You send him off. God damn it, man. That's what it is. You don't just bring them into, randomly Tony Khan, not to, again, pull a Dave and make it about AEW, but Tony Khan will just job people out and then not call them. That's what he says. So, it's even that. Like, whether Ricochet's swerving us or not, WWE sent him off in a way where we're all wondering if it's a goddamn swerve or not. So that's how you do it, man. It's storytelling first. It's the expression and the facials and all of that first. Why? Because, and why does wrestling's physical and it's a sport and it's physical moves. So why would the facials and these other physical actions like pacing and selling outrank the moves and doing 450 flips? Well, I'll tell you why. Because those are storytelling tools, and the moves are storytelling tools too, but they're also like transitional things between the moments of the story, which are also moves. Do you guys get what I'm saying here? I'm talking about telling stories here.
You know what? If I win the lottery and get billions of dollars, you know what? You're gonna run we're gonna start a Fed, and you're gonna run the.
Yeah, dude, and that's all I'm saying is that like the story's number one, and like the facials and all of that stuff tells the story. A good selling, like a good Ric Flair will tell you that's how he's the GOAT. Everyone, Ric Flair's the GOAT. He just sold everyone and then weaseled out a win.
He got his ass beat for a whole match and then cheated in one or figured out a way at the end.
That's more important. Like a facial does more than a body slam, and a body slam can do more than a superplex, and a superplex can mean more than a shooting star press if you let it, if it means something, if it just with how you tell the story. So anyways, I mean, Al, I'm here telling you guys, you're listening to me, but Al will probably tell you this way smarter and better than I can, because he's actually been in the biz from a booking and actual in the ring standpoint, which I have not. So here we go.
You have technical wrestling skills. What a absolute moron. Seriously. I want to pay to see Undertaker be Undertaker. I want to pay to see Steve Austin be Steve Austin. I want to pay to see Hulk Hogan be Hulk Hogan.
And that's what Tony Khan doesn't get. And that's why there's no characters and everyone uses their real names, and there's no vignettes actually explaining characters and like, well, what's this guy's vocation? What is this character? There's no focus on that, because it's just all like, oh, they'll do great matches. But Al's pointing this out like, no, dude, I want to see this guy fight. Like even UFC, it's like, no, I want to see Connor fight because he's going to talk and throw a left hand and talk about a guy's wife, and it's going to be funny. I want to see this guy fight because he's a jiu-jitsu master and he's came from the favelas or whatever. Anyways.
No. You go out and you show them your technical skills. We've spent how many weeks with Toni Storm being Toni Storm?
Right.
And how much money have we spent producing those vignettes and her interviews, convincing the audience she's Toni Storm? Hey.
What he just said, that's exactly what I just said about Ricochet.
I want you to go out there.
Just in a way, smarter, less ADD way.
And forget all about that and show your technical skills, Tony. Are you stupid?
There's more.
Yeah, man. And then there's a part 2 to that. We will EFAP that on the next one. God damn, we got to give an air horn.
Can we get another flute?
Marty wanted to tee it up, so here we go. He'll play this one this time. Let's see if he can hit the keys correctly. That was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.